Memanglah satu negeri yang unik, sistem beraja yang unik, pelantikan raja yang unik, tidak ada pada negeri yang lain.
Saya berbangga di kampung saya ada pertabalan ni yang lama saya tunggu 41 tahun ni baru ada pertabalan ni. Jadi macam satu benda history lah.
Just over 50 years old as an independent nation, Malaysia has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in Asia today. Although a young country, it is a land that has long been home to a confluence of old cultures.
The Malaysia we live in today has really been formed as a result of the traditions that have come before us. And everybody uses rituals to define who they are.
The state of Negeri Sembilan anchors much of its identity in the elaborate rites of its unique royal traditions.
What we are looking at is this magnificent display of the richness of the culture that has been retained for many, many hundred years.
Over the coming days, the official installation of Negeri Sembilan's new ruler will mark the biggest royal event this state has seen in over 40 years.
This is a moment that I don't think that I will experience it again in my lifetime.
Saya berbangga di kampung saya ada pertabalan ni yang lama saya tunggu 41 tahun ni baru ada pertabalan ni. Jadi macam satu benda history lah.
For the first time, Discovery Channel goes behind the scenes of the grand celebrations and rituals laying the path to the throne for Negeri Sembilan's 11th ruler. An incredible rite of passage that reveals the special role Malaysia's monarchies play. A unique bridge between the world it must keep up with and the one it cannot leave behind. Malaysia stands out with an interesting role in the story of Asia's economic development. Its icons of progress reflect a balance it strives for between the demands of modernity and the values of its diverse social landscape. Positioned at the crossroads of the region's historical trading routes, Malaysia is a federation of 13 states. 9 are traditional royal domains and sultanates. Today, Malaysia is home to nearly a third of the world's monarchs who remain practicing heads of state. Beyond their regal realms, Malaysia's royalty have always played integral roles in developing the nation. Many have the added responsibility of protecting traditions. Tunku or Prince Ali Redauden's work in his home state has gotten busier lately.
I think I do a fairly good balancing act of bridging modernity and tradition. I'd spent most of my life, particularly my adult life, in the world of modernity, being in the corporate environment. Over the past week, both on the standard side. I've always had a passion for history. As a result, I've always regarded tradition as being very important. Taking the traditions that form part of who I am over here and bringing them back out into the modern world, I guess, is something that I have to do every day.
But what is about to unfold in the royal bastion of Sri Menanti Negeri Sembilan does not happen every day. Drawing out the palace regalia marks the first milestone in a series of rituals required to officially install the state's new ruler. As Tunku Besar or senior prince, Tunku Ali is entrusted to preside over ancient customs, paving the way for his father's passage to the throne.
Memanglah satu negeri yang unik, sistem beraja yang unik, pelantikan raja yang unik, tidak ada pada negeri yang lain.
Located close to the federal capital Kuala Lumpur, Negeri Sembilan is one of Malaysia's smallest states, but retains some of its grandest royal traditions. Its royal capital, Sri Menanti, sits in a valley deep in the rural heartland. For over 200 years, This has been the seat of a royal dynasty that began with Raja Malewa, invited from Sumatra to rule the state. Its old istana, possibly the tallest timber palace in the world, is the ancestral home to some of Malaysia's most distinguished monarchs. This is the birthplace of the first Yang di-Pertuan Agong, or paramount ruler of the Independent Federation of Malaya, Tuanku Abdul Rahman. Negeri Sembilan's rulers come from a unique tradition of being elected by local chieftains. After 41 years, this royal democracy of sorts has chosen a new heir to the throne. One finally graduating from the role of senior prince he's held for nearly half a century. Tuanku Mukhris Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir will be officially installed as the 11th Yang di-Pertuan Besar, or Great Ruler of Negeri Sembilan.
This was taken in 65 or 1966. This was at the old airport. I had just arrived from England, from school holidays. Greeted by my family, my late father, my grandmother, and my sisters.
His return to Sri Menanti over the coming days involves an event much bigger than a homecoming for Tuanku Mukhris. Throughout the state, final preparations are underway for his official installation or Pertabalan. This elaborate event ushers Tuanku Mukhris in as the ultimate bearer of his state's royal traditions. In Negeri Sembilan, this is a big responsibility.
One of my duties is actually to uphold Malay customs and traditions. We place great value on these traditions because they present not just physical acts, but also the underlying reasons for these traditions. Pertabalan itself is the apex of all the traditions behind it.
Across the traditional heartland of Negeri Sembilan, the Pertabalan represents a chance for her people to revive an arsenal of ancient customs.
Benda ni yang sebenarnya kalau kita war-warkan seperti bagaimana yang kita buat hari ini, jadi pendek kata daripada sinilah pendedahan tadi itu kepada peringkat generasi hari ini.
All of these are traditions that have been happening here in Negeri Sembilan over the last few hundred years. None of this has happened in the last 40, so obviously I've never witnessed any of it. So it's all new to me, figuring it out as I go along.
The journey ahead reveals the grandest rituals Negeri Sembilan has been waiting for, literally for a lifetime. One called upon by heads of governments and states, bringing the institutions of today to honor the traditions of the past. The days are counting down to the official installation of Tuanku Mukhris as the 11th monarch of Negeri Sembilan. After 41 years, the time has come again for a new ruler, sworn to uphold the traditions of his people. Joining Tuanku on this journey are his sons and his consort, Tuanku Aisyah Rohani, herself from another royal family in Malaysia. But the state Her Royal Highness is now part of has unique traditions of its own.
This state, Negeri Sembilan, they got a motto on tradition and custom. The Malay says, biar mati anak, jangan mati adat, which means to say, you shouldn't die, but make sure that tradition don't die. You know what I mean?
For centuries, Sri Menanti has been the sanctuary of Negeri Sembilan's staunch royal traditions. It harbors ancient customs carried through a long line of rulers. Before he can be officially installed, Tuanku Mukhris must perform an important ritual that has its roots in the earliest kingdoms of the Malay archipelago. Reviving such ancient rites today requires months of preparation. Ceremonial guards work with the Royal Armed Forces, going over every detail to relive the event authentically.
Ini masuk sini, tak payah berdua dah. Ini masuk sini. Ni tak payah pakai dua dia dah. Satu saja. Masukkan.
Ceremonies of this sort are rare. It's a great reliving of what is almost forgotten.
Thousands of well-wishers have come to witness Tuanku Muhriz and Tuanku Aisyah Rohani embark on the journey of a lifetime. Every step deeper into a realm of ancient rites kept alive through the ages.
What we are looking at is this magnificent display of the richness of the culture, not so much the protocol, but the ritual. I think the ritual that has been retained for many, many hundred years.
The new ruler's path to the throne arrives at a symbolic milestone. Before he can be officially installed, he must perform an important cleansing ritual. The Besiram ceremony has evolved organically over the centuries, but its core values remain intact.
Maksud dia adalah untuk mensucikan diri kebaduli Tuanku. Dan khususnya mendapat taufik dan hidayah pada Tuhan Rabbul Jalil dan dapat melaksanakan pemerintahan yang adil dan saksama selama baginda menduduki takhta kerajaan.
Bersiram somehow that began during the pre-Islamic situation is now conducted in the same manner but with different intention, fulfilling another faith or cosmology or spirituality. The underlying epistemology of that is about cleanliness. And I believe in royal family, it has a special function. A new man, a new person, you are entering now into a new role. There you are, you're ready and clean.
Everybody uses rituals to define who they are. Negeri Sembilan is no different. I think they're very pertinent in terms of defining who we are as a people and what the ruler signifies to the state.
Like most royal states in Malaysia, Negeri Sembilan retains a rural and agrarian landscape. It was settled in the 15th century by the Minangkabau from Sumatra, the world's largest matrilineal society. Today, their descendants are renowned for preserving a unique set of customs called Adat Pepate. In a society that celebrates the supremacy of tradition, some of the most revered positions are reserved for clansmen born with the responsibility to protect ancient customs. For the palace's most senior ceremonial officers, the installation of their ruler is an event that calls on them to take center stage.
Ampun Tunku, patut kita makan bahawa satu mentawai telah selamat disempurnakan. Saya merupakan Datuk Seri Ahmad Diraja yang ke-14 dan saya memanglah orang yang pertama sekali, yang mula-mula sekali memulakan Istiadat dan khususnya apabila selesai menutup Istiadat. Dan jawatan ini memanglah satu jawatan yang mana dijawat oleh keturunan nasab ibu saya dan tidak boleh dipegang oleh mana-mana suku yang lain.
Not all positions in the royal palace are hereditary. The ceremonial guards are led by the Dato Setia Bajaya. Though not a birthright, he carries his appointments by the previous ruler, Tuanku Jaafar, with a profound sense of destiny.
Jawatan yang saya sandang hari ini mula saya terima semasa kembalinya saya daripada haji. Jadi dalam masa-masa saya berada di sana, saya bermimpi saya dibawa oleh satu orang ke satu tempat yang penuh berwarna serba kuning, emas. Bila saya masuk ke dalam bilik tu, saya ternampak kebahagiaan tuanku almarhum. Sebabnya saya pun tak tahu macam mana. Apabila saya balik daripada menunaikan haji, saya dimaklumkan, diberitahu oleh istana mengatakan kepada tuanku berkenan melantik saya sebagai ketua Pertabalan Sembilan. Perasaan gembira tu saya tak dapat nak cakap macam mana, sebab ini satu pengalaman yang saya rasa mungkin saya tak dapat lupakan lah.